Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to our event Doesn't End When It Finishes. I'm teacher Bruno, and I'll be here to present to you one of my projects for everyone who is curious about knowing this a little bit more. I have so many things on this project that I would like to share, and I must say that I am kind of glad to having this opportunity to share with you. Okay. So I'm presenting to you the Fanzine Project. It's a project that I'm currently implementing in Centro Estadual de Idiomas, and also have implemented in other schools that I have worked at. So let's go simple. My name is teacher Bruno Gonçalves. I am the founder and the CEO of the BAS English. It's an online school that I am proud to have, of course. I'm a teacher educator with the British Council. And as I mentioned before, I am currently teaching at Centro Estadual de Idiomas at Fernando Duarte Rabelo, okay, here in Vitória, Espírito Santo. So, what is about? What is the Fanzine project about? Well, the fanzine comes from the union of the words phonetic and magazine. It's a concept of a magazine. Okay, it's a type of publication made by fans of a topic, which could be about music, movies, poetry, books, album reviews. You can name it. Okay, this information from InfoScola, and this is something that has called my attention when I have first contact with. And why the fanzine? Why did I choose for fanzine? Because it releases the student's creative process, okay? Because it has no pattern to follow. Okay? You just do the way you like, the way you prefer. You don't need to follow that traditional idea of a magazine, of a book, or any kind of written publication. And and then you ask, like, really, there's no rules? Yes, no rules. Anything goes, anything is possible. Okay, but it doesn't mean that some rules cannot be set. There are things that you can do, and I will explain how I worked on this project and how I worked on everything that's going. Well, first of all, as I mentioned, the content could be anything, right? You can do about literature, grammar topics, music. You can go for it. And how did I choose to work with this? Well, I chose English-speaking countries and everything about them. Okay, this is something that I decided for as a very important component of the English language teaching and learning. Okay, because as we know, when we need to study a language, when we need to learn a language, everything comes together, everything comes with. We need to know details about history, maybe not details, but it's important to know things about history, social interactions, cultural habits, music, literature. All these things can influence, and certainly in a moment will influence how people communicate. How many sayings, how many habits were raised or even were terminated because of some other aspects other than the language structure itself. Okay. For example, recently we have been discussing the presidential election in the United States. These things will be part of the communication. People will need to know about it. People will need to talk about it. Get out here, mosquito. Jesus, it's disrupting my presentation. Sorry, guys. And and we will discuss all these things about. For example, recently with the passing away of the Queen Elizabeth II, a joke which was passed on as a myth that she was immortal came to an end. And this is a joke relating a personality of an English speaking country. Oh no, Queen Elizabeth was an immortal woman. Well, we finally have a proof that she's not immortal. But these little social details, these things, is part of the language, okay? Is part of how people communicate. So it's important to know. And this is something that I decided to approach on the fanzines, English-speaking countries and everything about them, okay? So I need to ask you if I have caught your attention. I have? I haven't? Maybe? I hope maybe if I got maybe that's good enough for me. Okay. Well, these are some pictures of my students on the year 2017 or 18, if I'm not mistaken. One of the last times that I ever implemented the fanzine, working with students from the 6th to the 9th grade on Fundamental 2 in a private school. Okay, as you can see, there are working groups. And as you can see also, there are many different materials that you most likely you wouldn't see in an English class, which is basically art class material. Well, I assembled this in group work. Okay, I divided the class in groups of 4 to 6 students. I believe this is the most appropriate number. 3 students, not so many people, a lot of work to be done by few people. And more than 6 students, a lot of people, and they wouldn't work so hard on that. So I believe that 4 to 6 students is ideal. All right. And I would raffle countries. So I would elicit from students the countries that they know that speak English as a first language. Of course, the most common would be easier to come. United States, England, Canada, Australia, New Zealand are the ones that they usually go first. But you could go for others like Jamaica, South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, Canada. You could go for this. So it's very interesting to have more countries as options than groups itself. Okay. And also, I would assign the topics such as economics, politics, geography, culture, and history, recalling that culture is a large topic. So it most likely where students will spend most of their energy researching about it. But not to mention that also the other topics will need a lot of research, but usually culture is where they get more attention from students. Okay. Uh, so something that I have done in those pictures in that school, I usually have one country per class. So, for example, the sixth grade would research about one country. The other class, the 7th grade, would research another country, and so on. And each group will receive one topic. So the classroom, all the classroom would research, let's imagine, about Canada. So one group will research about economics, the other group about politics, the other group about geography, and so on. And you could go dividing, splitting the time. When I was working in that private school, I did one fanzine per trimester. Okay, then I could change the country and so on. Now I'm implementing this, as I mentioned, to the Centro Estadual de Idiomas, where I deal with students from ensino médio, right? And there, I simply decided one country for the group. So in the classroom, there were about 4 groups, 4 different countries, and each group will research everything about the country. As they are students of ensino médio, they can handle research easier in a higher amount comparing to Fundamental 2. Okay? So, how they would work all this? Well, to assemble the fanzine, I would need this kind of material. A4 sheet of paper will be folded in half to make the idea of a little book. I would also explain to them that text orientation can go in any direction. Okay, not only the traditional one, they could go diagonally, sided, going around, they could go the way they like. Okay. The pictures can be printed in color, black and white, and also can be drawn. Also, no specific orientation to put on the pictures. Okay, can could go traditionally, and they could go like one over the other, making like some kind of mixed of images. They could make a drawing. They could combine drawings with printed pictures and so on. And the art class material, as I mentioned before, colored pencils, scissors, glues, ruler, crayons, and so on. Many things can be used in here. Okay? So how to assemble the groups and organize the project? Well, as I mentioned, I simply divide the class into the groups. I try to make the balance the quantity of students per group. And then they must research about the topic that was chosen in the raffle. Okay. One detail about the raffle of the topics and of the countries, I would have students, one representative of each group, should get the papers with the countries and the topics simultaneously. Okay, it would be better for them to simply get them together so there wouldn't be any complaints about, oh, he chose that, I wanted that. Everybody choose together. Okay. And okay, so once they have the countries and the topics, they would research the content. And I really suggest that the research should be done at home. Why be doing at home? So they can have the time to organize, they would have better connections. Uh, Also, we could consider the possibility that the school doesn't really offer good internet connection for the students. And even maybe the computer lab is not appropriately equipped. So suggested to do this research at home, okay? Um, and also the teacher, in that case of the project I, but as you, in case you decided to implement this, they can guide on how to organize and prepare the research, okay? So this is something that you can align with other teachers, making this a multidisciplinary project. Okay, so as the students will research history, geography, economics, and so on, they can align this with the history and geography teachers. And also that our teacher can be involved as the fanzine itself has some artistic appealing. All right, so that is a good option for a multidisciplinary project. When I implemented this, these teachers, they didn't want to be part, like officially part of the project, but they allowed students to go to them and ask questions, ask for places to research, websites with trusted information to read and collect them. But they didn't want to be part of that. Sorry about it. They didn't want to be part of that. Okay, but it's a tip. You may know you can do that. And also, I would arrange the class to assemble the fanzine in advance. So let's say that next week I will have the two classes. And I say, okay, guys, our class on Monday will be a regular class, English class, and our class on Thursday will be for the fanzine. So bring the information you're researching, bring the material, and then we're going to work only on the fanzine, okay? And also something that I did, the fanzine that they were developing during the classes would remain at school, all right? Why they would remain at school? Students may lose it, they may forget the fanzine at home, and they also can miss the class. So for not having these issues, I would keep the fanzine at school with me. Okay, they only would bring the material, pictures that they are printing, and research that they are making. All right. And there was one case, I think it's interesting to share this. Everybody here has come across with that idea, oh, my dog ate it. But literally, this happened once. The first time I implemented this, the students were taking the fanzines home. And once the student said, teacher, my dog ate the fanzine. I said, oh, come on, really? And then he pulled out the fanzine from his backpack, all chewed up. And I said, yeah, your dog ate it. That was a really, really thing, right? But under this, I decided to keep the fanzines at school always, all right? So the ground rule that I decided to implement is that the research that's going to be on the fanzine should be handwritten. I never let students copy and paste the text from the internet because the idea is for them to learn. The idea is for them to expand their knowledge about these countries. So the research should be handwritten on the fanzine. Okay? Exactly for them to learn something about it. And what does the teacher do if the students do the research? If the students print the images, if the students bring the art class material to the fanzine, what does the teacher do? Sit down, relaxing? Not really. The teacher must guide the students all the time. They need checking if the written is correct, appropriated, if even if the spelling is okay or not. Keeping track of time, keeping track of the activities being done, all right? And sometimes, depending, this depends a lot. But on many occasions, I allowed students to access the internet through their phones. And this is also a moment that you keep tracking on them because they would go to social network, they would try to play a game without you noticing that. So you always keep them on track. You need to keep your eye open all the time. Okay. And here I show you a video of some of the fanzines that I have collected through the years. As you can see, it's all the orientation, as I said, it's all around. Okay, so take a look on that. Okay, so these are some of the fanzines that I have my students producing. And during this year, as I mentioned, I am producing this, I'm having this project implemented in Centro Estadual de Idiomas. It's going to be almost concluded when I am recording this video right now. But when it's done, besides these books, these magazines, and so on, they are also going to produce a podcast episode about all the research that they have done for the fanzine. Okay, so be on and be tuned that sooner or later I will put these episodes on my podcast. Okay. So if you want to get in touch with me, you have this QR code here, in which you will talk to me on my WhatsApp. You can find me on Instagram and so on. The other one is to download this presentation in a PDF file. Okay, in case you feel more interested to know a little bit more about the project. Okay, and I am thanking you so much for being here. In case you want to discuss all the possibilities of projects, getting to know more details about the fanzine, please contact me on my WhatsApp. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I see you guys on a further, maybe who knows, in-person presentation. See you guys. Bye bye.